Let's go to my live dashboard. You can bugger off. Live Isle of Wight, UK. Okay. All right then. It would appear that I am working. It seems to be working. It's going to be a smaller resolution than it used to be because of internet limitations where I'm presently located. I just want to say hello and thank you for dropping by, and it's been a while. Hello, Anne. I even type. It's very, very interesting stuff just now, and I felt so compelled to actually share it with you guys because of some beautiful images. At one point it looked like an eye when I turned the symmetry on, as you'll see now. I'll turn that way up to 9. Isn't that beautiful? This is in the sky, guys. I mean, it's amazing what symmetry does. Yeah, all you have to do is reflect it, and before you know it, it's giving itself away. I'll just make a lot of manual adjustments as I go along. So it does actually involve being present a lot of the time with it. I think that might be part of the reason why I started experiencing the interactivity element. I think the observer principle is a very important part of this project, and yeah, as time has gone on, it's almost as if when your consciousness is focused on something, the universe, whatever, consciousness of everything else responds. I have to admit, I have missed sharing my sky with people, but it's been quite a dramatic few weeks, hasn't it, for everybody, and it has felt very necessary to take some time out to adjust to the new situation. And there's just so much I need to be focusing on and doing, and there just isn't enough time. And I'm the kind of person that will do things depending on my emotional or psychological state of mind at the time. If I'm not in the right frame of mind, then I can't make myself sit down and edit if all I want to do is pace back and forth and go around in a circle, ruminating on stuff. So I usually have to go through that entire process, let it play out, let it work its way out of my system, and then eventually I can get back to being able to focus and concentrate again. That could be hours, days, or weeks, depending on the nature of the situation. And I think most people would agree that stressful situations can have quite an impact on your normal everyday functioning, especially if you're used to a routine or doing things in a certain way, and then as a result of an external situation, everything just gets thrown up in the air, and it takes a while to get back into some kind of meaningful pattern of behaviour that I can sustain. I'm kind of grateful in a weird way for this time, because it has allowed me to try and focus on things, and I've kept myself fairly busy. I mean, not like ridiculous. There's not really much you can do, really. I'm used to it. You see, I'm used to isolation, and I'm used to, kind of used to the being social, antisocial to a degree. For me, it's actually the inverse of what everyone else is doing. I've actually chosen to stay with my family, my mum and my stepdad, which I haven't done for 20 years. I left home, I never looked back. I've always kept myself independent, living, not relying on other people. And for the first time in 20 years, I'm now in a situation, not the first time, I mean, I was homeless back in 2015 for about 6 months, and a friend of mine put me up for a while. And that was quite a harrowing experience. Just losing your sense of privacy and your personal space, and not having a personal space, literally being reliant on everyone else. And there's a little bit of an echo from that 5 years ago coming back. I'd love to know what the astrology was back then. I really should look into that. But yeah, so crazy times at the moment, and I'm not going to go into my opinions about it. I am not going to have that debate or that discussion, because I have it all the time on Discord and Tartary with the other people I speak to. But I don't want to make this channel about that kind of stuff right now, because I'm very skeptical about the entire narrative. And I think at the moment we're being manipulated into manifesting our fears and anxieties. So I've had to really pull away quite hard from any sources of information, particularly mainstream news and government announcements and things like that, because that stuff is heavy on the fear. It's ironic because they're kind of trying to prevent people from talking about things, certain ideas and concepts, with the argument that it promotes disinformation, misinformation, or fear and other things, but they're fucking doing it themselves. So it's ironic and quite twisted, really, the way things are going. But I've also kind of come to the conclusion that, my present situation, my present perspective on it is, it doesn't matter what if it's real or not. It doesn't matter what the reasons are. Well, stream health is apparently not brilliant, but I don't know. Red flashing there. But we've all been locked. Humanity has basically been locked down in its entirety, pretty much, or it will be. And it's that thing that I think is the focus. I don't know if people will catch a virus or not. I've got a feeling the power of the mind really works, has a lot to say about that. So I'm not worried about it. Where that's going to take us, I'm undecided about it. So people from the conspiracy theories or the truth community, or whether it's mainstream, the similarity is that people are asking, believing, requesting of the state, of the governments, the people in power. We are literally asking them and trusting them to be able to administer security, peace, justice, those things. You know, you've got the truth community who are looking for truth and justice, but they're looking at it to come from the very people. Similarly, the mainstream, obviously, you know, people are turning to their governments, their mainstream media, for news, information, to be informed, to be reassured, to receive the security. And so then you realise, well, the propaganda is on all sides. It doesn't matter what you believe in. Everyone's fears and desires are being met simultaneously. So then what do? I guess the best thing to do would be to focus on the kind of world we want to live in, and all the benefits and positives of the present situation, as many as we can find anyway. And I think there are some benefits and positives to be considered. I do feel that, you know, regardless of whatever's going on, the situation gives us time and space to really think about stuff, to focus on what matters, to develop ourselves. And I've had a number of very interesting, I would say, psychic experiences in the last few weeks, particularly since I've moved. And I do think that that is possibly an indication, I know that a few other people have as well, an indication that, you know, the awakening is really ramping up. And that these experiences, these new energies and phenomena are going to continue to emerge and show themselves, come to the surface. We're going to be really seeing some interesting stuff. Turn that up a little bit. That's my take on things. I mean, I've run through the entire gamut of the whole situation. I'm not even going to mention the buzzwords because I know that it's, you know, I've gone through it all with lots of different people. I've had the same conversations over and over again for the last week or two. And after, you know, listening to a lot of people and kind of realised, you know, this is all about taking our focus away from ourselves. And actually, I think right now what is really, really necessary is to have our focus primarily on our own personal development and process. And, you know, without forgetting the sense of community and socialization that we were used to. We really do need to honour those aspects of ourselves because those are human needs. And I think what's happening is the way that it's being handled is that it's trying to drive a wedge between us and between every person to make us more callous, less empathetic, less caring. I think that could be a potential goal or result if this social distancing stuff, this craziness continues to go on for too long. So we've got all that responsibility, each and every one of us, to to try and remember who we are and our responsibility to ourselves and each other, regardless of our views, our political persuasions, whatever, it doesn't matter. The one thing we've got to try to remember is our humanity. So don't let the situation detach you from your heart or your crown or any other part of yourself, really. That's all I've really got to say at the moment. But I really wanted to share these images and show you that doesn't matter where I am, this stuff still comes through. I'm just gonna they still arrive. A little bit of a overlaying silliness there. So it's a little bit sloped, and you know that is a natural slope. We're on a hill, so there's nothing I can do about it because the surface that the camera is on is perfectly straight. The camera is upright. That horizon line is just wonky. We're halfway up a hill. Definitely some interesting stuff going on. Keep your eyes to the skies as much as you can. There is apparently a lot going on right now. We're talking astrologically and physically in the air. Everything is mirroring us. The cosmos mirrors us in every way, like internally and externally. And the fact is that humanity, in its present situation, is the closest to being in alignment with itself since forever. You know, this is unprecedented, energetically speaking. And the problem with the truth community is that we often spend way too much time focusing on the negatives, exposing ourselves to distasteful truths and seeing through a lot of lies. But it can make you very jaded, and a responsibility to ourselves to try to keep things in perspective a little bit. Not to lose focus on what really matters. Well, I think I'm being seriously fucked with. This shortened situation, the internet here is pretty dire. And it means it's impossible for me to do prolonged live feeds because the internet connection gets throttled. And there are about 2 other people in this household that are using it too, so I'm not used to it. I'm used to a lot faster connection and access. But there you go, that's the best I can do. So yeah. So I'm just catching up on some YouTube videos because I haven't actually been doing much online or using my computer at all in the last couple of weeks. Trying to do other things, trying to keep my activities varied, and not spend too much time on any one thing. Otherwise, you know, I think it's an opportunity to break some habits, to adjust and adjust ourselves, our habits, and things we do, and try and find balance within them. And I think that's kind of being reflected by a situation where most people aren't even allowed to go to work. So we've got a lot to focus on, a lot we could be doing instead of. I was wondering why it looks so bloody yellow. I got the wrong setting. NTSC. Oh well. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. There's some interesting stuff. I might try and leave it to. Oh, look at that. There's obviously an object of some kind up there. I mean, look at that. What's that? Some kind of winged thing. And then these abnormally bright clouds. Not abnormally bright, but you know, the way the light is reflecting. They're in the middle. So whatever happens in the future, hopefully this won't be, you know, the last one or anything, but there's a lot of stuff going on up there right now, and no idea what's going to happen. So I'm going to leave this running. Look at that. Look at that. There is so much weird shit. Look at that. Why would there be such a defined edge right there? And then you look at all the texture of it. Now what I have to do is maybe, you know, change it. You know, these aren't clouds. You get used to that idea. There's a lot more going on up there than we know. But I swear I have seen this almost spherical object before. I mean, I get a lot of this stuff anyway. I see some really weird shit, so it just seems to follow me around, and I don't mind at all. I actually kind of I think it's very cool. So look at those. Look at that eye type shape there. Now I use there's a filter a thing that I have called sharpen, it's meant to sharpen the image, right? But actually it goes so far that it adds structure and definition as well, and then eventually it's almost like it inverts on itself. So you can see all kinds of textures and shapes here. And oh wow, look at that. Illustrator. Oh, I cannot. Look. Okay, so straight line. This thing. Oh, look, an eye as well, a reptilian eye by the looks of it. Hello, mate. What you doing? I hope that if I'm really nice and polite to these things, that maybe they'll be nice and polite back. You know, you never know. And obviously, this thing, and I've seen this before as well. This is kind of like, you get used to seeing it. You get used to seeing these. There's patterns and patterns and shapes and stuff that recur again and again and again, and eventually after so long you start to get used to them, and you kind of realize that I can acknowledge it now, that there's something, that there's a consciousness that comes with them as well. I know that sounds very weird, but to be honest, I've been having some very weird experiences in the last couple of years, and the past 12 months in particular have been absolutely insane with some of the strange phenomena I've experienced, psychic phenomena too. Look, there's that, there's that. Those lines are way too artificial looking. I don't know if these are the guys that I see on a regular basis or not. Maybe they want me to put the symmetry on. If only I could. Let's have a look. Can you show us? Would you mind? Could you just give us a bit more of a glimpse there? If you can do that for us, we'd be really grateful. Not everybody can access their third eye at the moment, so it'd be really helpful if you could just emphasize some points here for us. It's interesting how people like to put the fear into you when it comes to looking at this stuff. If it's your time, and I'm sure it will be extremely chaotic and terrifying when it does happen, but if it is your time, then what good is it to panic and scream and shout a lot of the time? I mean, yeah, obviously express yourself, but look at this, another eye. We're human at the end of the day. We were given emotions, to work with as part of our psyche. But we've been seeing them as a debilitation rather than as something that we can use as a tool, or at least I have. And it's going to, oh look, so that, what are you telling me, there's a pyramid there then, or? I mean, and even if it was, I mean, how would you know for sure? People could be screaming Project Bluebeam at me, and some kind of spherical thing there. Oh, look, another spherical thing. It's not going to be perfect. I haven't done this in a while. Oh, there was something else there. Oh well. This does look like something I've seen before. Maybe at a slightly different angle. Remember, the angle's very different here. Let's close this. I could probably blabber on like this endlessly for hours. The moment the opportunity to go to be on a radio show or anything comes up, yeah, I tend to avoid the limelight. Really, I like to just kind of do this on my own terms and interact with people as and when, Definitely got some lines going on there. Oh. I hope the stream isn't buffering too much. There will probably be moments where it will buffer a little bit. I'm expecting. That's the best I've got. I've even brought it down to 720p, so that it is smaller, unfortunately. So I just think the connection is struggling just a little bit. Interested to know what Anne is saying about Egypt. Found Osiris's tomb. Ancient weapons and artifacts being found and misused, I would imagine. Something like that, maybe. Roll myself a cigarette, but I will have to leave. Go outside to smoke, as I am staying under my mum's roof. It's interesting, isn't it? Oh yes, I think I know what that is. Yep. I've seen somebody called Deadeye Customs. He did stuff like that. It looked like a blob with tentacles or something dancing around on the, like behind a screen or something, and as if there was a barrier up in the sky which kind of blurred it or made it very, very difficult to see. But what you would see is like a dark blob with tentacles moving around. I've seen something like that with my third eye on a number of occasions now. You see, when you're used to being a recluse and isolated, it's that side of things isn't a problem. I've spent a few years myself, quite a few years now, being extremely antisocial and reclusive. And the challenge for me at this moment is the exact opposite. I've gone to stay with my family, and as I mentioned earlier, it's the total inverse of what most other people are doing. But I think what people will find is that they will be presented with stuff that they need to learn or heal over. Black goo. Oh, black goo. What if the black goo is a good thing? It's just a random what if. I don't know if it is or not. I need to make another adjustment. Right. Douglas Adams. Who's that then? Just do a quick Google search of that. Google has now become my default search engine for some reason, because before I had it on DuckDuckGo, and then after an update it got put back to Google for some reason, even though I have opted for not Google. Why would you do that? Okay, Douglas Adams, English author, screenwriter. Alright. Oh, I see. Hitchhiker's Guide. Sorry. I get it now. Yep. Unfortunately, I mean, I know his work better than him, by the looks of it. Even though I wouldn't be able to, aside from Hitchhiker's Guide or the Guys, I don't think I could probably name anything else he's done, but I really appreciate people dropping by and saying hello. I don't really do this for views or for lots of people. It's mainly for posterity and for my own observation, but it's very lovely to have people pop by now and again. I know it's probably like watching paint dry for some people. I know it's not for everybody. That I can't get enough of seeing the shapes, and every time I look above I feel like I'm looking at my friends. Even if they were to rain down chaos and destruction upon us, if that was to be the case, 41 is quite young. I mean, I'm only about 3 years away from that myself. I don't look half as rough as Douglas Adams does by the looks of it. But there's always time. There's always time to develop a new habit. That's not good for me. But I think at this point in my life, it's extremely unlikely. The worst I do now is smoke tobacco and weed. And I'm trying to become a lot healthier now. But you know what? When I look at this right now, sometimes I'm seeing like what appears to be like an asteroid or a set of spheres or some kind of celestial object. And then at other times, you kind of think, oh, it looks like a projection, hologram, in context with itself. It gives away some clues. There is obviously some very, very potent arc going on there. There's just so much crap in the sky at the moment. I mean, they were spread. They did a few chemtrails this morning. I'm starting to notice the difference now. I think I've worked out how to determine whether something is a chemtrail or whether it's some other phenomena. They've definitely, I think the last couple of weeks of good weather and barely any clouds at all here where I am, that has actually helped given me a little bit more context in terms of what to look for. Because I've been continuing to watch even though not for necessarily been streaming, but I've continued to watch whenever I've had the chance. You do kind of notice this stuff. So I did say I was going to end this, make it really quick, but I think what I'll do is go for a cigarette and leave this running for a little bit longer. Look at that. Isn't that a curve? Where's the curve? Gotta flatten that curve. I don't know, man. I'm an either or and neither person, so I don't really have a viewpoint on that, really. I think there's a lot of things going on about our reality, about our world, about the physics of the nature of reality that we don't know about, and so it's like literally guessing. But look at that. I mean, even without any additional stuff, you can kind of see what this huge thing now is. That Atlas, maybe? Who knows? Who knows? We could speculate and guess all we like, and actually, I welcome that. Speculate and guess as much as you like. I know some people like to censor or have the debate or argue or whatever. I'm not interested in all that shit. Just say what you want. Say what you think it is. In my opinion, everything is possible simultaneously. Inconvenience. That definitely looks like there's an object there, doesn't it? Thank you for that, Anne. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share the Zertis. No. I'll share my my personal Discord channel here, and if anybody would like to join it, they're most welcome. If they use Discord or whatever. Right. Mental elasticity. And the reason I'm sharing the Discord link is mainly because there is a network and group of people here, including Lenny, who use the Discord, and we jump between servers and rooms and keep in touch with each other on a regular basis and chat and voice channels. And so there's if you want to find more people like yourself, I'm guessing most people who come here are kind of doesn't that look like a dragon breathing out fire, doesn't it? I think most people who'd be coming to this point would be fairly awakened or going through that process of questioning everything themselves anyway. So you will not be, if it helps people not to feel alone, then all the better. I'm just catching up on what Anne's reading, or what Anne wrote even. Is Earth mostly harmless? It's difficult not to throw in the towel. Okay. Well, as you can probably see, there's a few faces and stuff starting to appear, a lot of eyes over the last half an hour or so as well. So it feels like my friends are tuning in a little bit. hiccups as well. It's like a feline being there. Yes, I've seen a few felines so far. Oh my goodness, the images looked amazing. It looked like an eye, a giant eye within the sky at one point. That's what the symmetry does anyway. It's quite beautiful. So I'm going to leave this running a little bit. I'm going to go and have a cigarette. I might even go for a walk at some point and go see my nature spirit friends down in the little copse down the road. Just a little walk away. Oh, that was what I forgot. I forgot to get strawberries. Right, if you ever want to encourage nature spirits and stuff to speak to you, they love strawberries, apparently. So make sure they're organic and make sure they're washed as well. For now, I'm going to mute out and I'm going to just let this play silently. And feel free to continue to watch it. I think I'll just leave it on 64 with a little bit of sharpness there. What's that up there? You wouldn't see it if there's like a goodness. Okay, muting out. If anyone's still around by the time I'm back, brilliant. I will try and let people know when I'm signing off. It's just I'm also mindful that I could be interrupted at any moment by my mother. So, okay, speak soon and enjoy. Birdies! Hey Brett. Okay guys, I think I'm going to end it there and go for a little bit of a walk. So thank you for tuning in. Much appreciated. Have a lovely day. Bye bye for now.